Hi, I'm Rebecca and this is my vlog about knitting. I wasn't going to do one today because I really don't have a lot to say, but I did my makeup because I had to go to the orthodontist and so for my daughter. And so I did my makeup, then I got home and I was like, well, I might as well vlog. All right, I'm Rebecca. I live in Silverdale, Washington. I am 40 and a half years old. I have 5 kids. I have a boyfriend and 2 dogs, and I have a tongue tick. So if you see me sticking my tongue out, that is why. I'm going to mention that every episode just because I don't want new people to be confused. So there you go. If it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. It's not actually, it's like Tourette's, but it's not, because Tourette's is diagnosed in your childhood. And so if you don't get Tourette's in your childhood, then it's not Tourette's. And it's a side effect of my medication, truthfully. So that's just how that is. And I'm not willing to change my medication because my medication works well. And I'm okay with sticking my tongue out at people. They're gonna have to deal with it, I guess. Whew. Hi, how are you? Good, good. Thank you for the warm welcome back. Everybody was like, oh, I'm so excited. You guys are the best. That makes me so happy. I love that. So knitting, I wanted to show you guys, I finished my birthday socks. My daughter bought me this for my birthday, and the yarn for my birthday, and it is Dream in Color Smooshy in the colorway Riot Girls. I love these. I think these are so fun. Like I said earlier, I love that they don't quite match because I have a thing where I like one sock for each foot and always stay that way. So I try to do that as often as I can. If they're too identical, then it's a problem, right? I don't like having identical socks. That's one of the things I like about hand knit socks and mismatched socks, is that I always have one sock for each foot. So that's that. I did a basic vanilla sock. I did a gusset. I never do gussets, but I don't know. I did a regular stockinette gusset because I like doing them, because I suck at slip stitch gussets, and I really don't like I don't like it. I don't know. I like the heels. I just don't like doing them. So I usually do Fish Lips Kiss, even though it doesn't really fit me as well, because this is nice. Okay, so I did finish my birthday socks, and that gives me room to start my socks for my daughter's birthday. She loves socks. She loves socks, and she has full-grown feet, so she gets socks, and she actually wears them, which is fun. So I have this yarn. It is Yarn Cafe Creations. It is in her Bon Bon 2-ply fingering weight, 85/15 nylon. And I love this because it's 393 yards, which I love thicker yarn for socks because I feel like they're just easier to knit. I knit on size 0s, and sometimes even then my gauge with thinner fingering weight yarns is too thin, and I don't like it. So I try to stick to thicker yarns. It's got a little bit of speckle. The color is showing up so great. Maybe it's a little brighter in person, but I really love these. I'm thinking about doing a pair of patterned socks, mostly because I follow Sock Madness, like follow it. I don't do it ever, and I probably never will, but I love following it. I love seeing the new socks that come out. This new sock is wild. I'll probably, if it becomes available in the future, I'll probably buy it because the construction is so interesting to me. I love that. I love an interesting construction. Not always, because sometimes I feel like people will choose interesting constructions for the sake of an interesting construction, and then it doesn't look good. And in knitting and designing, when you're selling, I mean, anybody can buy what they want, but I feel like sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? If it doesn't add to the pattern or like functionality or design, just don't. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you make something. So love. Oh, and this is pink poinsettia. I love it. I think this is so fun. It's got, so I gotta figure out a pattern that is not too hard, and I'm gonna do it on this. Very excited. Very excited. I'm gonna go wind the yarn after I get done with this, actually. I'm so excited. I got my second box of palette because if you've seen this before, if you watched me recently, you know that I'm doing the Kurdish shawl, sorry about that noise, Kurdish shawl by Kieran Foley, which is a stranded intarsia shawl. It's a stole, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna show you, but I wanted to show you what I got from Knit Picks because I told you guys I was getting it, and I got it. It came in yesterday. These are all Knit Picks palette minis, so they're 20 grams. Significantly cheaper than buying the full sets. I love this because, I mean, think about all the color work you can do. And then I have the red and purple one also, and they're so easy to just keep organized like this. See? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to have both of these to be able to work on my shawl. I think it's so exciting and fun. So like I said before, if Knit Picks is too expensive because they're not having a sale, because I am cheap, that's how cheap I am. I won't buy Knit Picks if it's not on sale. Some of the yarn they have is on crochet.com. It literally says it, and they have different sales. And so when I was looking into buying these, it was $100 for the set on Knit Picks, and then palette was on sale at crochet.com. So I got it from there for $75, which is a lot, but what are you gonna do? Okay, they don't have the same selection. Knit Picks has a lot more, but crochet.com definitely has some. My hair is kind of, I'm gonna pull out my hearing aid. Okay, so what else? Oh, my shawl. I actually didn't get much done on it yesterday. I don't know why. So this is that. I started in on the zigzag. I decided to do a pink. So what sucks about this is that this pink is, I have to do it in tarsia for a while just because they're so far apart. You can see that. I've talked about this extensively and I don't want to be too repetitive. Knit Picks palette is actually really soft. I don't know if I'm going to block it just because of the lighter colors, like there's some white. I don't want it to bleed. Does palette bleed? Let me know if you know. And I have another question for you guys. Okay, first of all, I know that this isn't ideal. I'm aware. But have you guys ever used palette to knit socks? I know that it has no nylon on it, and I know that it would not be hard wearing, but they could be cozy, right? Or maybe I could get some like nylon thread to help reinforce it, even though it wouldn't be hard wearing, but I don't know where to buy nylon thread. Where do you buy that? Probably the craft store. Answering my own questions on it. I don't know. Let me know if you've ever done that, because I don't know how to do that. Or maybe I would just use another fingering weight with nylon in it. That would be a lot easier for the heels or for the toes and heel. I could do that. Look at me answering my own questions. So I want to do that because I want a pair of colorwork socks, and I have so much Knit Picks palette that I think would be really cool to be able to do that in those colors, but it just wouldn't be hard wearing, and I know that. I know that, okay? I know, you don't have to tell me. Not hiking socks, right? Like, probably just like lounging on the couch socks in the winter. So that's my knitting. That's all I have to share for today about knitting. My life is very boring. I did take my daughter to the orthodontist today. I think I mentioned that. Home alone. My kids get off early, so my alone time is being cut off, which is fine. It's fine. I have tomorrow too. I really love being alone. I'm a total introvert. Being alone is my favorite thing. I love it, like totally energizes me. I can only handle social situations for so long, but I need alone time, which I don't get very often. During the pandemic, actually, since I've had my kids, I really haven't even had babysitters. I have not gone out. I think the only time I really had babysitters is like when my kids were born and then I needed somebody to watch the kids, or like, and then even then it was family. I've never had anybody besides family watch my kids ever. So I don't get alone time. That was the thing. In the pandemic, we all hung out in the house together for 2.5 years. It was horrible. Horrible. Although I was just thinking today about how much I kind of miss parts of that. It was horrible. It was horrible in so many ways, but I don't know. I liked wearing masks, and I still do, mostly because you just have to. You don't even have to do your makeup. I don't even do my makeup. If I'm not wearing makeup at all, I wear a mask because I like to. Okay, nobody can see me. I feel protected in my own little space, which is fine. I love that. I don't have a lot. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. Again, I took a long break because I just didn't feel like it. But I caught up yesterday. I watched Fairy Grandfather Knits. Love, love, love. He knits amazing stuff. It's so good. And he only does it like once a month, I think. And so he always has like these amazing projects to show. Whereas I'm like, oh look, I knit like a little bit of this shawl. And oh my gosh, I've watched so many people and now I feel bad for forgetting who that. I always watch Barbara from Flame and Fiber. She's not always, because I didn't watch anything, but when I did, I watched Barbara. She's my favorite person ever. I was thinking about Rhinebeck this year. Now here's the problem. I have gone to Rhinebeck with my sister, and my sister is like my safety net. When I go to events, I don't go to them alone ever. But she can't go this year because her son has a birthday that usually falls around Rhinebeck, which is horrible. And this year, I don't think she's going to be able to go because his birthday is like right at that weekend, and it sucks so bad. But I was thinking I could go. The problem with going is that it's not like you can just fly to Rhinebeck and like stay at the fairgrounds and like leave again across the street. You have to fly into like New York. And guys, I've said before, I won't even drive to the ferry and go on the ferry near my house. Not driving through New York, New Jersey, it's not happening. So I don't know. I'd have to go with somebody I've met before. I'm not gonna go on with some stranger, but they'd have to drive, right? We could split the rental car cost, but I'm not driving. I am not built for that. The Lord knows that I am not. I don't know. Actually, okay, so I learned to drive. This is my biggest flex. When I was like 21, I was so scared of driving. When I was like 20, I was like 19, 20, I moved to Germany for 2 years and I did not know how to drive. So I came back to the United States to get my driver's license. And I learned for 4 hours in a parking lot. The first time I drove on the road was my driving test, which I failed. But for some reason, they gave me a driver's license. I don't know. I literally failed parking on a hill because I forgot to put the car in park. Didn't even come close to the cones. I didn't hit them because I was so far away. And what's the other thing you have to do? Backing around a corner? I was like in the road. So, but the thing is that the instructor, or not the driver tester lady, had lived in Germany for ever. And so she was talking to me the entire time about that, to the point that like literally I would come to a stop in an intersection and she would forget that we were driving and she would keep talking until I was like, should I turn left or right? I don't know. And she'd be like, oh my goodness, yeah, just make a right. So I think she just gave me my license because she liked me and because I was leaving the country anyway. So I guess she was like, oh, you're not gonna be on the roads here, it doesn't matter. So I took my driver's license. I didn't drive again until I got to Germany. So the thing is that I owned a car in Germany. My husband and I, at the time, owned a car that was a stick shift, and I had never driven a stick shift. I learned for 4 hours. I took my driving test in an automatic. And so I called my friend, and she was about 15 minutes away down a highway. And I called her up and I was like, you know how to drive a stick. Please come teach me how to drive this. I don't know how. And she was like, I will 100% teach you how to drive the car, but I'm not coming to your house. You have to come here. And I had a baby, guys. So I loaded up my baby and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go. The only thing I knew about it was that there was a clutch and that the gears changed. So like first gear is all the way up to 10, second gear is up to 20, third gear is up to 30, 40, and it goes on like that. And I knew that you had to like reverse. I knew how to do that. And I never had done it. I just had that information and that's all I knew. Not only that, but I was completely illiterate as far as the signs. So if it was like bridge out ahead, I don't know. It's just like, well, I hope this works out. Couldn't read a thing. Not to mention their signs. I don't know if they fixed this, but at the time they don't say north, they don't say south. And all you have to know where you're going, like what city direction you want to go to. So if you want to go to like Frankfurt from where you are, they would only have like the small towns along the way. So you had to just know that the town that was on the sign was on your way. Otherwise, you didn't know. So I didn't know a lot. And this was before the internet, really, before smartphones. And I think we had MapQuest, so I would print out directions sometimes. But we would just like use a map, right? But you can't use a map while you're driving. It was so scary. And I didn't know how to drive, and I stalled, and I blew out the transmission, and it was so bad. But I didn't have a choice, right? Because we lived out in a rural town. We didn't have, I didn't live on base. And so if I needed something or had to go to the doctor or grocery shopping or whatever it is I had to do, I had to drive. I didn't have a choice. And so I lived like that for over a year with a baby, not knowing how to drive, with a stick and figuring it out on my own. I drove everywhere. Not on the Autobahn, but I did drive down the whole length of Italy, which is worse than the Autobahn because there's like no speed limit and nobody pays attention to the lanes and nobody uses a turn signal. I'm sorry, that's just how it was. I didn't believe that until I went there, but it was like, I don't think their cars come with turn signals. And so you can't use them either because otherwise you'll stand out like a sore thumb. And then we went to Pompeii, and the intersections, there's no like rules. It's just whoever is bravest would go first. And so I did do that when I was 19 and 20, 21. But now at 40, I'm like, I stay within like a 5-mile radius. I don't like doing anything. It was really scary, but I made it. I did it. I learned how to drive a stick. It was trial by fire, but I did it. So that's my biggest flex in life. I learned how to drive a stick on my own in a foreign country where I was illiterate. I did that. I don't know how, but that same daughter is now 19 and she drives a stick, but she needed extensive lessons and is still nervous about hills and stuff. And it's been like 2 years, which is fine. I get it, but nobody taught me. I just had to learn on my own, and it was fine. I lived, I made it. No one died. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. I did get in an accident where somebody did die. Yeah, but it was their fault. And it was a pedestrian, which was really awful because the sound of a human body hitting your car is something that you never forget. It is the most stomach-dropping sound that could ever happen. She hit me. She was older and she was walking down the sidewalk and she passed out. And she hit my car as I was driving by and died. That was awful. So I have been in a fatal car accident. It was not my fault, and it was with a pedestrian, which is something weird. Nobody else can say. That was really horrible, very traumatic for me. And I still have a hard time driving by pedestrians on sidewalks, just because I remember, that was horrible. What a terrible story. I can't end on that. Other than that, I've never even caused an accident, nor have I ever been pulled over. And people always go, oh, don't say that. I don't break the laws. I don't speed. I don't cut people. I follow the rules as much as I can. Of course, I've broken some of them on accident, but now I'm like depressed about that lady that died. It was really horrible. And the crazy thing about that is that I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I saw her on the sidewalk and I knew that she was going to fall and hit me. And there was nothing I could do about it. Had I slowed down, I probably would have hit her. She fell. That wasn't a choice. Couldn't speed up. There's cars in front of me. And I just knew it was going to happen. And it did. It did. I don't know. I have that thing where like I know that bad things are going to happen. Like my boyfriend got in a car accident a while back and he was going somewhere and I was like, he's going to get a wreck. That sucks. And he came in like 5 minutes later and he's like, I got in a wreck pulling out the driveway. It was the other person's fault, but yeah, wild, right? I know. I don't think people believe me. And then they go, well, why don't you tell people before it happens? And I'm like, because if I told you, hey, I think you might get in a wreck, I can see it happening, I know, then it won't happen because they'll be careful and then they'll be like, see, you didn't know anything. So keep that to myself. But like when I was in the shooting situation, when there was a potential active shooter in a situation, I knew that was going to happen too. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew something bad was going to happen because I almost wore my Doc Martens there, but they weren't broken in yet. And I was like, I went to put them on and I was like, girl, you're going to have to run. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I went to my therapist and I was like, yeah, I'm bad luck, man. Bad things happen and I know them ahead of time. I see them happening and I know. And like middle sentence, we got like this active shooter alert. I knew. I was in the waiting room and this guy came in out of the thing and there's like, please wait here sign. And he came out and he like kicked it. And I was like, oh, there you go. That's the bad thing. And then I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Something worse is coming. And I didn't have to run, which was good, but I was glad I didn't wear those shoes. It took me a while to be able to wear those shoes back to that office. Anyway, I'm psychic. I don't know. Not really. You guys have that? Do you guys have premonitions that actually come true? Yeah, well, I do. And it's like, I can't see them in my eyes. Obviously, it's not like a vision. It's like I see it in the back of my head. I know that it's going to happen. Not all the time. Sometimes. So, yeah, there you go. That's a depressing story. Let's see, something good. My dog's not whining today. I'm having a good day. It's totally fine. Yeah, my kids are coming home early, so I don't have a lot of time to knit. Thinking about casting on pallet socks, which is probably the dumbest thing I've ever thought of. That's not true. Wow. I think of dumb stuff all the time. Today I was thinking, I'm not going to tell you guys that story. It was just a dumb thought I had, and I was like, I wonder if anybody else has ever thought of that. And I was like, that's really probably not, because that's incredibly dumb. Okay, so that's it. That's all I got today. And we're at 20 minutes. So I will talk to you guys next time I do my makeup, to be honest with you. Okay, bye.